Oh my gosh. It's a miracle.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. I think we're there. I think we're live, Britt. What's up, everyone? We are hopefully live. This is Brittny. We just spent the last, maybe for me, 17 minutes trying to figure out like tech support. Then there was lighting issues. Then there was audio issues. And then we just ended up chatting. So we finally hit live and I think we're good. Yeah. So everyone, what's going on? This is my girl, Brittny. You guys, you have to meet her. There's so many reasons why you have to tune into this. So like I type up the little blurb I was just telling you about like when I do these, and the blurb was like all about how can I get people to realize how much they have to listen to whatever it is we're going to talk about today. So thanks so much for doing this.
Of course, my pleasure.
Why don't we start with you letting everybody know like what you do?
So, I mean, yeah, first of all, you're welcome. This is the least I can do because of like what a benefit the coaching was to get me to this place. So long story short, I am a health and happiness coach, and my backstory is in the world of fitness that evolved into the world of nutrition and wellness. And I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I just knew there was like a call inside of me to do something more. And when I joined the inner circle, I wasn't quite sure. Like I had all these different ideas, and I'm sure if you even looked at my questionnaire,
I was looking for it before this call. I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. So I was gonna like request access to another one. She's like, oh.
Yeah, well, I still have it, and it was like all over the place because I really just didn't know what it was, but I knew that I wanted to do something in this world, and with now, like I have a very clear vision of what I'm doing. And I know as I learn more, it's going to evolve more, but basically it evolved into from a nutrition coach to an accountability coach to now it's just like overall lifestyle, wellness, happiness in that realm. So
I love it. So here, I just want to give everyone some context, and then I want to go back to like the beginning when you were writing out the questionnaire and what was going on. So just for context, Brittny was inside the inner circle, and she didn't have a business. She didn't know what she was doing. We're going to get into all of that in a second. And the reason why I want to really dive into that is because it's so relatable to what so many people are dealing with, right? Wanting to start something and just being like, where do I go? There's no clarity. And then there's like, right. You get it. So, and then within the inner circle, like you, let's talk about the results that you got just to get everyone excited so we know what we're dealing with here. And then we're going to reverse engineer the process. You down?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. So let's talk about the results that you got.
I mean, the result. So going into inner circle, my goal was to be able to pay off the investment because the most I've ever invested in myself ever at one time. Not in my whole entire life, but at one time. So my goal was like by the end of the program to pay it back. And I wrote that down. And it was very clear that that was my goal. So the benefit that I got from being in inner circle is like, I wanted 10 clients and I wanted to make 10K. That was like my ultimate goal in 1 month. Now, I mean, I hit that goal and then some. I actually haven't had this much in my bank account in, I don't know.
Yeah.
How long because I was always just like paycheck to paycheck or doing this or that, and now I've like really honed in on like what I've invested in my business I've made back and then some because now I'm saving, and anything I've made is going back into the business. But it was just one of those like connecting the dots moments where I was like, if you follow the process, it will benefit you. You just like, I kept saying it over and over. The first month I was like, I don't know what I got myself into. I don't know if this is the right choice for me. What am I doing with my life? Like this is the timing. And then by the end I was like, best investment. Actually earlier today, someone asked me about it. Just a friend that knew when I made the investment because I was terrified. I was like shaking. Yeah. And best investment I've ever made. And I had told myself at that time to tell myself like you're gonna get to the other side and be like that was the best thing I've ever done.
I love that. That's awesome for so many reasons. You know, the thing that stands out to me right there is like having that initial, like the first time you invest in yourself, like just for anyone who's like buying a course or working with a coach, it is I remember my story. You're always going to remember yours. Like it is the craziest thing. And then when you see how much of a difference it makes for you, it's like I'm my biggest expense, more so than my ads, more so than anything I do. It's my, like my coaches, my consultants, my self-improvement, because I know when I'm, with the right people, I'm going to get to where I want to go. So, huge on you for making that decision. Okay, so the reason why I'm so excited to talk to you is because you're a dream client. And this is where I really want everyone to get into Brittny's head and like take a page out of her book. When, as a business coach, when you have someone who shows up with the attitude that Brittny has, so I can come to the table and say, I know I have the steps. All the things that you don't know how to do and that you're worried about and how am I going to get there and how's it going to come together and all the overwhelm and all the ideas and all of that, I have that. What I don't have is the other person on the other end, usually, who has the attitude that you have. Like, so I want to get into your head and really figure out, for the benefit of anyone who's like going to be watching this, what it is that you were able to do to take this process on the way that you did, the way that you did it, like the way that you trusted the process and took action, even though you were overwhelmed, even though it was a crazy investment, even though you didn't know what you were doing. So what was it about you that you showed up, you watched, you took action? Like, what do you think that is, mindset wise, or whatever you have to add?
Well, I mean, it is 100% mindset. So I knew I wanted to be a coach. And I've been coaching for a while, like not like directly, but I knew that was my path. So I took what I do with my clients and I applied it to myself. And that was the first step, is we're the only people that stand in our way. Like there's all these external things that you think stand in the way, but the external really doesn't matter. It's all the internal. So what I had to do was shift my mindset, instead of like, okay, like I can't control this, I can't control this. What I can control is what's going on inside of me. So that was the first thing, all mindset. So anytime I would start something and I was like, what am I doing? I like had to like either stop and start over again, or like reset, move around, change my energy so I could come back to it and have a whole fresh perspective. Because I'm like learning from the best. Like there was a reason why I ended up working with you, because I admired the work and I'm like, there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why not learn from someone who has reinvented her, like that didn't necessarily reinvent the wheel, but took something that she
Made it work.
her own. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm taking what I learned and I'm making my own, because it makes it authentic. But first and foremost, mindset is everything, and recognizing your blockages. So I had to really get past two big things. First, social media, like how it's a very, very, very important tool. And it's wonderful, but it's also very consuming. So
Yeah.
learn how to use it as a tool, so it's not using me as a tool, because that's where I like really had a big blockage with comparison and seeing what other people are doing and where they're at and what I'm supposed to be doing and like all this stuff. I had to like really, really like hone in on that. And that I don't like writing content. I always said, I'm like, oh, like content, like what? Like I've always been like that before I even got into this space. And once I like shifted that, and I was like, well, who's to say you don't like this? Like you're good at it. You do it all the time. So those were like the two biggest things that I was like shifted. And then that really like kind of made things finally click.
Right. I mean, because at the beginning of this whole thing, when we started, you didn't have a sales funnel, you didn't have a lead magnet, you didn't have an offer, you didn't have all these things. And those are the things that trip everybody out. It's like the tech, it's the online, it's not understanding how it's all going to come together. It's not, just, it's a different language. You took it on and it's like, you never questioned it. You just kind of went for it. So how did you deal with the unknown that we threw at you?
I mean, definitely helped having weekly calls. And it like also helped being in a group of like other women, because at the time it was all girls.
Yeah.
Just being in a space, people that were also going through it. Like at first you're like looking, you're like, oh my God, like what's going on? Are they all getting it? And then there'd be moments where everyone's like, I don't get it. And then it was like this calming feeling of like, okay, it's not just me. And like there's something about that that's so powerful. It's like, because we're really not meant to do things alone. And being an entrepreneur, it can be very lonely.
100%.
So definitely like if there was a calm sense in that, and then just like troubleshooting and figuring it out. Once you figure it out, like it is gonna click. Like what I'm doing now, like is way more like organic coaching through referrals and this and that. But like I have this system in place that like I totally get. Like I completely understand how it works now, and it's brilliant. Like I remember the first time that I really got it, and I was talking to Brian, and I was just like, oh my god. So then you do this, and then it brings it here, and like I wanted to teach every single person that I could, because the best way to learn is by teaching. Like
Yeah.
you put it in, and I'm like, okay, and I'm applying it, but like, am I really getting it? So I'm like, how can I use this? Why must I use it? And how can I teach it to people? So every person that would talk to me about it, I'd be like, okay, so first you do this, and then you do that, and I'm like, let me talk to you about an avatar and your lead magnet, because
Oh my gosh.
I learned quadruple because I kept teaching, and I'm still teaching. Like I have like friends being like, I want to do this. I'm like, perfect.
So
Which
awesome.
is crazy. Like, let's go. Let's go.
So jokes. How like all this happened. You came into the inner circle. You're a dream client. You didn't have any of this stuff. You had all these ideas. We built it all. You launched. You know, paid back your investment. How much did you make?
I made 12,000 my first month.
Like the first month. So there's so much that was involved in that, and there's so many other variables as well, guys, for those of you that are listening. But what I can tell you as someone who's been there with her from the jump of building this online thing to someone who's made 12,000 the very first month is everything about how Brittny showed up and her willingness to trust the process. And you were able to separate like what you have to do with what's coming up ahead, I think, better than anyone else I've ever had in the program, because we're building a business, and you hear me say these things all the time. They don't always click, but then when you have someone like yourself who does it that way, it's just like, it's the best thing ever. Meaning there's a lot to do when you're building a business. There's a lot that's coming up, that there's a lot of unknown that is around the corner, but we have to focus on that immediate next thing. And you're always able to bang that out, where most people are thinking about, I got to do this, but they're also like worried about all of this. Right? So what would you say to someone who's at the beginning, where you were at not very long ago, and there's this whole road of complicated stuff ahead, and a lot of it's unknown? How did you stay so focused? Like, what did you do in terms of your routine, in terms of whatever you had to do?
I mean, two things. First, done is better than perfect.
Uh-huh.
We get very caught up in like it needs to be the most perfect lead magnet, and oh my god, I need to change it because of this. And I think that was one of the biggest things, is like, this isn't going to be perfect, and it never will be. But if you can just do the steps, it'll take you to the next part. It's almost like just you're playing like a game. Like you're like, okay, I completed this. Now I got to get to the next one. I completed this. Then you can go back and tweak and adjust. Like I'm always going to adjust, but like you have this framework. So I think just getting it done, I mean, accountability is everything, right? Like no one necessarily like, it's not like anything that's groundbreaking, right? Like obviously like the tech side of it, like that's all foreign and new.
100%.
But it's just like, okay, you said you're going to do it, like hit your deadline. If you don't, like, okay, we can adjust, but like, why aren't you hitting it? Like what's stopping you? What's standing in your way? So I think those are the two biggest things. But I kept telling myself, and I think it was a call maybe halfway through that really stuck with me, is like, done is better than perfect. Like it doesn't need to be perfect, because it's always going to change, evolve.
I love it. I love it so much. So this is also like something that I wanted to pick your brain about, that's off topic, but it's on your topic, is like your attitude. You are so positive. You took this whole thing on, and you were always happy to do it, and everything. Every time you came on the call, like, guys, like, look at it. It's always like the best energy ever. And a big part of like why your stuff works is because that's how you showed up to everything. Like, oh, we got to redo that lead magnet, we got to redo the video. You're like, okay, like everything was just like, you were happy to do it, and it's just who you are. And it's also what you teach. So if we can flip the switch, and you can coach us on what you do to show up with that energy every single day consistently, guys, it's not bullshit. It's as real as it gets, I'll tell you. So give us your tips.
Well, I think, again, shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, like you're going to hear me say mindset a bunch, but it's everything. Because for me, for the longest time, I was like, this is just how it is. Like I'm this way. This is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm bad at, and that's it. And when I shifted that, I'm like, who's to say that I'm bad at that? Like I'm not, like, who told me that? Like why am I telling myself this? So really just coming into the space of like, okay, I don't know how to do it. I don't want to know how to do it all. I want to learn. Like if I think the best
Being curious.
Be curious, ask questions, lifelong learner. And I always would be like, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to go. And like something really shifted when I like stepped into this space of like, I don't want to know it all. I want to be surrounded by people that know it so I can learn from them. Like that's why I was attracted, or like, law of attraction, like why I worked with you is because you figured it out. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to learn from someone. And then like, that's kind of the space. So I'm like, if you're telling me to redo something, cool, I'm going to redo it. And I felt like being in a group of people was also really inspiring. Like people would put out stuff and I'd be like, wow, like that was so good. Like, I was like, wow, they like really put that sales page together so nicely. And just, there was just like different things to like picking up on that I was like, oh, I liked that, or that conversation, or all of that. And then I think the last part because I think this is where a lot like people can follow your everything. They do the avatar, they do the sales page, they do the text all set up, the ads are perfect, all of that. And then it gets to the sales part. And I think that's where people like almost freeze and they become paralyzed because it's like, oh my God, like what do I do? And the biggest thing that I've learned is, well, first, you have to have something that is authentic, that will get people results, and that works. Because you can't sell something unless you know genuinely that it's going to help people, if that's the space that you're in.
100%.
If you know that, transfer that to don't even call it a sales call, because it's really not. Like what it is knowing that you can help them and make their life better and enhance it. It doesn't feel like sales because it's coming from the heart.
100%.
So sell from the heart, then it makes things like there's no blockage there. But if you're like, okay, Brittny, cool, well, I'm just starting out, like I don't know how to do this, like I haven't done a sales call, it's like you have to test it on people, anybody that you can, get them actual results while you're doing a program like this, because then when you get to the sales, it's not like paralyzing, like, oh shit, like I don't know, like if I don't know if I can do this. So it's like, okay, if you can get people results while you're doing it or before you even start it, then you get to the sales part and it like becomes like very natural.
Right, because your client's results essentially like it's your confidence, because it's your proof to everyone else, but most importantly to yourself.
And that was my biggest shift, is like I had clients that I was working with as I was developing my signature program and going through all this. And once I started getting them results, I was like,
okay,
skyrocketed me. Like I was riding high because they were doing so well, and I was like, this is working. Like I didn't doubt it. Like I really.
But you need that. As a coach, you need that. You absolutely need that.
Theory is great, but then in practice and doing it, that's everything. And I think it's just like taking action on it and being able to evolve it and change and get feedback and real, like, again, growth mindset, like just knowing that like it doesn't have to be how you've always thought it was.
I love what you said about, I always talk about being curious about stuff, but like when you can hear things like that and then you can take it on, right? Like if you go into a program or you take on the big daunting process of building a business, it's like the thoughts and the pressure because you want to make money and I got to do this and and then it becomes this whole other thing. But when you take it on as a student and you take it on and you're curious about it and you take it on and you decide that I'm going to enjoy the process. I'm going to figure things out that I don't know right now. And once I, figure that out, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Right. So it really is how, I think you've managed to make this process enjoyable and ultimately why it's worked.
Yeah.
Because you weren't scared when something went wrong. You weren't upset when something went wrong. Like there was a roadblock. You're like, okay, like I don't know what to do. And those things happen. And you were just like, it was fun.
Yes. And I think that's the most important part is like, it's scary and it's terrifying, but it is fun. I definitely while I was going through the process, still working a full-time job, and like I'm a very big believer, don't quit your day job.
Yes.
Your day dream just yet. Like, and that definitely gave me a little bit less, but I realized, and by doing this, and I read this book called The One Thing, and it changed literally everything. Because I'm like, okay, I've been doing this like 75%. Like if I do 100%, like the results are going to be huge. So it's like finding that that middle ground to like make that leap and that jump. But
so did you quit your day job?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did we start working together?
Well, I think it was my wedding in November, so I think September. Oh, it was by my birthday. Yeah, so probably August.
Okay. so it's August, like now it's January. So, and like you quit your job, you got married, you built this business, you know, you've got money in the bank. Like what's next?
Oh God,
It's like
so much.
everything's awesome.
I
Like
mean, it's crazy. I mean, I've never felt more clarity. Like I've never understood the word clarity more in my life than I do now. And I do think that it just comes with going through a process like this and trusting it and believing in it and believing in yourself and knowing that you're capable of doing anything. So for me, I know like where I'm going. I love coaching and I love one-on-one coaching and helping like develop into that, but I also want to teach people how to do it as well, like similar to business coach, but more in this space of like wellness and lifestyle. But I also ultimately want to build courses too, and then like let that grow and develop because
oh my God, I'm listening to you right now and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, so like guys, I need you guys to get like having a conversation with Brittny, you know, August, September last year. So how many months ago was this? Like, and now she's like talking to me like she's like we're speaking the same language, like someone who didn't even know what this stuff was. And that's why you guys have to understand that whatever you're overwhelmed with today, if you don't know it, it's like you got to be a student, you got to learn it, and then all of a sudden you're gonna be talking like Brittny, and I'm looking at her and knowing she's going to pump out the courses, she's gonna do whatever she wants to do because she has the skill set. Like it's insane. It still blows my mind.
Yeah, well it really is insane because yeah, like if you would have talked to me like, I mean, 3 months, 4 months, like it would have been like totally. I didn't think that this is where what I the conversation I'd be having.
It's insane. Okay, so tell us. So you want to create courses? What else?
I mean, I want to create courses. I want to ultimately have like a coalition of coaches. Like I want to have like people in their niche and specialty that like we all teach a similar methodology, but that it's unique to them. So like building out like just a whole collaboration because I'm like such a big believer in collaboration. Like building this on my own really made me realize how important it is to be on a team.
Yeah.
Because like the way that things are going is so much more important to have that like support and just like all the different skill sets and all of that. So building out a team, but I think first is just creating content and courses so I can reach more people because coaching one-on-one, you know, it is a big investment and it's not everybody can afford it, but I want people to be able to have the same benefit and have the same value, but maybe just not as like personalized.
I love it. And just before I let you go, I just want to explain to everyone from a tactical level why we did the one-on-one coaching, because this put Brittny in a position to pay back the investment that she, you know, invested working, you know, inside the inner circle, one, but two, so that she has the tools so that she can have that money in the bank, like she said, to reinvest back into her business. So now when she reinvests back into her business, what we're talking about is using the system that we built to grow her audience. So you can have all the courses and all the offers and all the ideas. If you don't have the audience, we're not going to get very far. But if we have the money to invest into the business, to build the audience, now we have leverage and we can then figure out, do I want to create courses? Do I want to do things? So you are someone who just like did this 10 times faster than most people do, because within like now you're ready to decide, do I want to turn my program into a group coaching program? Do I want to turn that into a course? Like you're in that position to be able to do that because you know that you can coach, you can make that money right, like really quickly in your business, and then put that back in and then decide what you want your model to be. So it's just like, it's been awesome to watch. It's so cool. I remember like seeing in the Facebook group, you're like, sold another one, like sold out. Like, do I do a wait list? I'm like, a wait list? Like you're 1 month in.
Well, it's like, you know, and like a little backstory on me, like I do, like I'm very fortunate and like the world of wellness, like you kind of start to build an audience without realizing.
Right.
And that was a big switch.
People are yes.
So if you're in a space right now and like if that you don't have that, like start to get an idea of like, you know, who you want to reach. And like if you can't reach everybody, like
yes,
you find that niche before you even think about anything else of like what is your like what gift do you have to give people, and then you can kind of build from there. But like again, very fortunate because I didn't realize a platform that I had going into this. Like I had
yeah.
and,
yeah.
and
People are watching. They're watching.
And
I
that's
love
what
it so much.
I really realized the benefit to doing this and figuring out a system behind it. Because I mean, there's a system behind it, and that is the structure for any success is having a system and strategy. And that's like, I'll be forever grateful for that. Just simple strategy to follow.
And I am forever grateful for you. Thank you so much. I was so excited to have this chat with you because I want everyone who's tuned in, like if you caught the end, like go back to the beginning. For me, every time I got a call with Britt, like I would look at you and there was something about your energy. There was something about you on the other side of the screen that was like, I have so much to learn from that, just in terms of who you are and your being and how you show up. And every time I saw you, I was like, yes, life is great. Look at what I'm doing right now. This is awesome. Like it's challenging, but it's awesome. And it just was that like reminder. I don't even know if I've shared that with you, but it was just like every time I saw you on the call, I was like, yes. Because it just gave me that reminder. And I'm just so grateful for you, for working with me, for being who you are, for putting out what you're putting out there. You are going to fly, and whatever you need, whenever you need it, I am right here. And I'm so excited
sharing that with me. And I'm so grateful for you. Like anybody that's listening, like there's a reason why I'm not serious, because I was on this other end of this being like, what did I do? Oh my God. Like, I don't know like what's going on. And there's a reason for it. Like there's 100% of reasons. You just have to trust the process. Like as whatever as that sounds, like that's the secret sauce, is just trusting it and believing in yourself and your capabilities. So,
and then doing the work.
And then, and doing the work. But it's like, yeah, you can't just wish for it. You do have to do it. But if you're doing it and you believe in it, you're like, will be 100% successful.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram. That's pretty much my like main platform at
Cool.
@q_. My business is Silver
Lining. Sorry, say that again. At B. I know it, but I just want to.
B.
Yeah.
The 2 and then _.
Yeah.
And then my business is Silver Lining Wellness.
I'm going to put that in the description so you guys can creep her and see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Brittny, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that you've shared. I'm so grateful to you, and I can't wait to talk to you soon.
Grateful for you too. Thanks, Steph. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.